Hi guys, welcome to my PROMish demo. These are the products and items I need to create these next two looks. So I'm showing you what I used and how I had it set up. This is our before of our long-haired doll head. I shampooed her with the Neuro shampoo and conditioner to prep her for the pre-dry and blow-dry to set her up for success for our updos. These are the products that I use to layer as I use them. And I use them in order, so that's why I'm showing you there. These are my favorites to help us get started. You can look at for the directional pre-dry here in the skill cards. That's what I went off of. This is how you section for your pre-dry, and at the top it's usually one section, but I did two just because of wanted to show you guys clean partings. This is how your pre-dry should look. Just the base done and still wet, and continuing to look that way as you move through your pre-dry, blow-dry. Same thing in the top. The underneath is still dry, the base anyway, and the rest of the hair is wet or damp. And then you're gonna go back after your base is dry all over and resection into your 3 segments and continue your chosen finish. I did directional finish on this doll head, and you'll see here in a second how it's supposed to look when you put it back up. You can see the base is dry and those mids and ends are still pretty damp. I'm going to spray the Awapui blow dry mist onto the brush directly before each section to blow out smooth like you see here. I'm going to spray this Marula Light Rare Oil onto the brush to give us a basic low pony. This is a very simple look, especially for those girls wearing unique dresses up top. Maybe they want to show off their neckline, show off the design of the back. This is a beautiful ponytail. You want to hold it back to where you want it to be. Now I started with one rubber band, and I want to show you what happens when you just use one. Bam, broken, okay? So you always want to at least do 2 together. That's a trick of mine that I've always done, just to make sure that there's some support there, especially for thicker gals, thicker haired gals, more dense hair. And this is where I realized I had a sliver in my nail, so it got caught in the hair, so please excuse that in the rest of the demo. Here I'm just rebrushing the hair, making sure that it's nice and positioned properly, combed out, smoothed out. And then here, I'm going to take a section in the back right underneath the ponytail and the nape, big enough to wrap around those rubber bands securely. So I'm brushing with my nylon brush, coming in with the Awapui finishing spray, just enough to give me a sleek look here. I'm not looking for it to be crispy or anything like that. I'm going to wrap around at least twice the rubber band and securing it very easily here. So I want you guys to take a look. I'm using a bobby pin here, not a hairpin, bobby pin. And I want it to actually catch the hair itself. I'm not opening it for it. I want it to keep that nice, sleek wraparound so that I can come in with another bobby pin and secure it. I'm not using that bobby pin to secure for this moment. It's just to keep it nice and smooth while I go back and forth to my setup to get more pins so that it's set nice and tight where I need it to be. And then eventually I'll take that the extra one out. One you want to go up, the other one you want to go down ideally. On a real guest, she'll obviously be able to bend her neck for you much easier, and that's where you're seeing me take the other one out. I no longer need that. And then I'm going to put one more in just to secure again. Now on a guest, you wouldn't see that there because obviously it's underneath, but just sprayed a little bit more of the rare spray, a little bit of hairspray just to finalize. Now here I'm going to take a Sanic strip and just smooth out any flyaways up top with our finishing spray, so I'm not disrupting the ponytail at all. Here I'm plugging in my curling iron because this is actually my wand, excuse me, at 400 degrees, and while that heats up, I'm going to show you another little trick with a hairpin, what I do for most of my updos for brides and proms. With a hairpin, see how it's already open? You can just take it gently and tuck any little flyaways away, any random little holes or bumps that you put in the ponytail by securing it. You can smooth out now with that, and you can just tuck it right in. Now that it's ready, we can use our wand gently. I'm obviously not pressing very hard. I'm just here to smooth out the flyaways for pictures, so it looks very nice and clean. We don't have to worry about it. If this was a real guest, I would probably have flat ironed her ends in her ponytail, but for sake of this demo, I just wanted to show you how to do a basic wraparound pony for you. Very chic, very sexy. Shows off the back of the gowns or body, whatever the type of dress that they're wearing. Here I've already taken the ponytail out. This is our second look here. going to take a section rounded around the crown, trying to make sure that I'm balanced on both sides because I want to show you that you can anchor things to the hair. You don't have to curl the whole head to get a beautiful curled look at the end. So here, this is my anchor ponytail. Again, I'm really focusing on trying to make sure that it's combed nice and neatly. I'm holding the ponytail where I want it to be wrapped around, 2 rubber bands one more time. Again, I have a sliver in one of my nails, so it's going to get caught here in just a moment. You'll see me kind of struggle through that little last part, but that's okay because this is the anchor ponytail and I can fix that, and I'll show you right here why it doesn't really matter so much. Checking for symmetry on both sides. Take my finger, set a part in between, flip that pony open and up into the ponytail, pull that ponytail back down. Here we are again, got caught on my nail. Not a big deal because we're going to come back through, brush it out, nice and neat, secure it here, right where I want it. I'm going to hold the ponytail and just pull gently on those pull outs of that the ponytail is sticking it inside created, and I'm pulling that hair there to cover the parting there. So it's nice and neat, still very pretty. Here we could just curl it, call it a day, be beautiful like this, but here I'm going to take a bobby pin. Again, I want to make sure it catches and keep it nice and flat, so I can do this here. Show you here, I'm just going to roll it up. So similar to a pin curl, I'm just trying to tuck all those ends in. I'm just trying to create some depth in our updo so that I can layer the other hair that I've left out over it. So it's a beautiful, larger bun at the end result. Again, very soft, very for spring, also for winter. It's very nice to have this here. So all this hair here, we're using as a base to tuck all of our pins into. So our Neuro Protect here, I'm just going to take a little bit of a section, maybe about 1.5 inches, diagonal back sections. I'm combing it flat, making sure after I spray that it's dry before I take my iron and put it in there. I'm feeding those ends in as you should. You want to, the ends don't take as long to get hot or create that shape around the iron. So I always start up higher. All of my sections on the left-hand side of the doll are going to go back away from the face towards the center back. And on the right, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to go away from the face towards the center back. So you'll see me do that here. But you see the NeuroProtect works really fast. I didn't need a whole lot to create that shape and hold it. It's got a really good memory. I'm not, slathering that product in. It's not crispy whatsoever. Again, feeding those ends in, and all of my sections are slightly diagonal back as to keep any real big partings from showing in the hair, which is also why I chose the directional method, so that I wouldn't have a whole lot of parts to fight against in our finished product, finished end result. And all that steam that you're seeing, that's just a little bit of product burn off. It's not a big deal. I'm not burning the hair at all. Also because of the oils and things that have been put in the hair. That's all you're seeing there. Again, it's just a dry mist. I'm combing until it's all distributed evenly and make sure that it's dry before I put that iron in there. Again, back away from the face towards the center back. And you can see that I've only taken maybe 4 or 5 sections on either side of the back. So you don't need to spend a whole lot of time setting curls and all of those things if you're not going to have a really curly end result. You can pretty much do the updo just as they walk in, depending on what's going on in their hair, and just set yourself up for success that way. So your curl time is really minimal on a look like this if you set your ponytail correctly. Again, slightly diagonal back away from the face. I want to make sure that my curls are going to be nice and cascading over that back section that we started with. Now, obviously on a real guest, I wouldn't be necessarily spraying so much towards the face. I try to keep that out of their face. They also have hands. They can cover their face as well. I let them know I'm going to spray. And also they'd be in a chair, so it'd be a lot easier for me to turn them. But because of the stand, obviously I'm working a little bit differently than I would on an actual guest. Again, with the Marula Light, spraying that in the curls before I comb them through with the wide teeth of my comb, just to prevent any frizzing from happening as I brush through. Being careful not to disturb the ponytail that I've created. Now, it kind of fell a little bit. That's okay, because you're going to watch me fix and secure this with hairpins. So I'm going to tuck those little ends in. I'm actually wrapping it around one of the strands of the hairpin and pinning it up into the rubber band there. Again, because of the way that I've set our ponytail, you can't see those pins. So this is a wonderful way to get that anchoring going on in your updo so that the curls hide or mask whatever hair that's been tucked in and underneath. This also expands your bun, expands your ponytails, expands your overall look, especially for our finer haired guests and or our less dense guests. This makes a big, big difference in the outcome of their updo. If you just took all of the hair and tried to bunch it up, sometimes it can look a little ratty, and you don't want it to look like that. You want it to look polished and beautiful from all angles, and so that's why I'm trying to show you these little tips and tricks. Again, now this one I'm hanging over and cascading that other hair underneath that end, and you'll see that I'm doing that here. I'm kind of crisscrossing, if you will, across the back of that anchored bun to make it pretty. I think it looks a lot nicer to do that because you are kind of creating some depth within the bun. So it's not just, you know, a round circular thing that you've got back there. Again, I'm kind of doing the same thing, diagonal back sections. I'm paying attention to where you can see any gaps between the bun and the anchor. So I'm trying to wrap that around, and I'm just setting a hairpin in, cascading that hair, so it's just catching it, and I'm tipping it upside down into the rubber bands. So I'm leaving those ends out on purpose. Here you can see a much more detailed look of that. I'm trying to, again, maintain balance and symmetry there. Combing with my wide teeth, and I want to get a good cascade before I decide where I'm going to pin it so that I have those ends out ready for the rest of our updo in just a moment. Paying attention to any gaps. Again, up and down inside of that rubber band is going to make it so much easier for me to move on. And then I don't have 100 bobby pins and hairpins in our guest's hair either. She's kind of able to see how many are there. Here again, I'm checking for balance. I'm leaving tiny little sections out, one in the sideburn, one in the temporal, one in the frontal, and then the very front at the part line is a bit bigger. And I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Again, making a cascade, combing to fan it out, clipping with our hairpin, catching it, and tipping it into that bun there. And as you can see, it's getting bigger and bigger, but it's not becoming overwhelming. Again, I'm doing the same thing on this side, one in the sideburn, one in the temporal, a little bit smaller, even finer at the recession, and then in the front, matching the length of that, or size of that in the front, a little bit heavier in the front piece, if you will. Again, cascading it, I want to take a look and make sure that I'm combing it in the direction that I want it to live, fanning that out where I need to cover some holes or gaps, just trying to make it look very pretty and effortless, like she could have done this herself, but obviously we did it for her. All those little ends, you could leave them out and maybe curl them a little tighter if you wanted to. I decided against that because of the ends that don't have a fresh haircut on them. I didn't want to cut the stall head. So again, hairpins, a little bit of finishing spray. I'm going to fix anywhere where I see any bumps or anything before I put my finishing touches on those ends because it makes it a whole lot easier. I'm just spraying upward at it. I'm not spraying it directly onto the hair. So I can fix any bumps or any little lumps that are there real nice and easy. I'm going to take my ends of the hairpin, gather them together so I can tuck those, figure out where I want to place them, how much I want to group together, and create a little bit more of that design into that bun, twisting around and tucking into our rubber band underneath. Same thing on the opposite side. I apologize, I didn't realize I hadn't turned it again until now. But now you can kind of see those shapes come together. If I had a ring light, it might be a bit easier to see. I apologize, I didn't realize how dark it is here, but basically same thing on the other side, cascading, making sure our ends are nice and clean. And I'm tucking those up underneath, and then I can hide those little ends up underneath inside of those folds with our finishing spray, and again, another little hairpin. Just combing it into place up underneath, and this is something I do with my brides and proms as well. I get up underneath there, and I want to take a look and make sure everything is hidden, nice and put away, secure. I'd ask them if anywhere feels loose at this point before I went ahead and finished our product. But that's our beautiful bun, and a little bit of shine spray all over, and we're done. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. Hope you enjoyed these, and it gives you some ideas on how to create some shapes for your PROMish entries. We miss you guys, and we will see you soon. Hope you're staying safe and healthy, and have a great time trying to recreate some of your favorite looks.